So happy 4th of July. If you're checking this out when it first comes out, it's 4th of July morning. And I thought this would be a perfect time to just kind of give a little refresher on how to shoot fireworks. I was looking for an idea this week, and Eric suggested, he said, it's the 4th of July. And I said, you know what, let's talk about that. So the fireworks photography is very easy. It might look intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's very simple and the images are spectacular. As I'm talking during this video, I'll drop some of my favorite fireworks images that I've taken over the years. Most of them are in Disney, and you know why? Because it's repeatable, and it was a great place for me to practice. They had the same fireworks every night, year after year, so you really are able to tune into the cues with the music and really get some great images. But these settings work for any kind of fireworks, anywhere. So now that everything's starting to open up again and they're doing fireworks displays, all around the country, maybe you want to pull the camera out and see what you can get with your camera. So there are a few things that you need. The first thing is a tripod. You definitely need a tripod to keep your camera still, or some way to keep your camera still. The whole beauty of a fireworks photo is it's a long exposure, so you get the burst as it leaves the ground all the way up into the sky, and then as it explodes and comes down. So that's what gives it a spectacular look, rather than just the freezing the explosion. So the key to it is keeping the camera still. Another thing you don't want is a cable shutter release, or use the app that comes with your camera if you have a newer camera. I find a cable release is super simple to use. With my Nikon mirrorless, I just plug it into the side and it works. Now I could use the app that comes with the Nikon app that comes with the camera, to control it remotely. You could do that as well. And the Canon M50 that I'm shooting on here, I've shot fireworks with this camera, and I did use the Canon app, and it worked perfectly. Basically, you hold the shutter button on your phone, it opens the image, and then when you let go, it closes down the exposure, and that's it. So you can control how long it is. Something simple, but you might not think about it, is you want your lens to be clean. So bring a lens pen or some sort of lens cloth or something, because I've ruined an entire night's worth of shooting because I had water spots or some dirt on the lens, and they showed up in every single image. So that's something you really want to pay attention to. Okay, so now you have what you need, and what are the settings? So the first thing you want to do is put your camera in bulb mode. Now this is in your shutter speed settings. So when you go into the back of your camera and you put your camera in manual mode, I recommend shooting in manual, by the way, for fireworks. So put the camera in manual. I would start with your aperture at like f11, ISO 100. Those settings are pretty fixed. You can just leave those and forget about them. The next setting is your shutter speed. So how do you know what you want your shutter speed to be at? Well, if you go all the way through the numbers and you start going where you're 1 second, 10 seconds, 15, 20, usually after 30 on most cameras, then you're going to see, it's going to actually say bulb on the back of your camera. And what that is it just lets you control how long the exposure is. So if you're holding your cable release, like here, when I press it, the shutter opens, and I'm watching the fireworks in the sky. And then when I see that the shot's over, I let go, closes down the exposure, done. So bulb mode lets you do that. Otherwise, you have to, let's say you set it for 6 seconds and you take your image, but the fireworks isn't finished. You might cut it off, or you may not get the beginning of it. So this way is a great way to actually take control of the camera. And that's what I really recommend doing. So bulb mode, ISO 100, f11 is a good aperture to start at. Now, depending on where you are and how far you are from the fireworks, you may have to open up your aperture a little bit down to maybe f5 or f4, or you may have to close it down. If you're close and everything looks very bright, then maybe go to f13, f15. You may have to stop down. That's going to be a trial and error while you're shooting, but that you can quickly do in between shots if you want to. It's not a big deal. Try not to move the camera too much, and your focus. So for the shots that I take in Walt Disney World, I usually just focus on the castle. So no matter where I am, I know the castle's there and the fireworks are going to be near it. But if you're shooting at f11, f13, most everything in the shot is going to be sharp. So let's say you were shooting the Macy's fireworks in New York City. You'd want to see where the fireworks are shooting from on the ground and kind of focus in that area, and then lift the camera up, and you should be fine for everything in the sky. But like I said, At f13, f11, most of the images are going to be sharp. You're not going to have to worry about it. But you do want to grab focus on something. You want to make sure you have decent focus. And if you have nothing in the shot, you can try shooting at infinity at f13 or f11. I think you'll be fine with that. And then just have fun. All you have to do is just kind of wait. Just as the fireworks are about to take off after each mortar is shot, you want to try to open the exposure just a second before it starts so you get the entire trail up into the sky. And then you want to wait for the burst to kind of fizzle out, and then you let go. And all of that should be captured in the shot. And it really looks amazing. It's a lot of fun to take these images, and they're even more fun to edit, because once you get into the computer, you can control the highlights and the shadows, and you can make the background darker or brighter, and it's really great. You can get creative in the computer, mess around with the colors a little bit. So I hope that helps any of you. Have fun tonight if you're going to go out with the camera. I'd love to see some of your images. If you do take some images, head over to our Facebook page, Disney Image Makers, and you can, under any of our posts, we see all the messages and all the comments and everything like that. You can always add some images in, and or send us a private message on Instagram or on Facebook and say, I took some of these images, and I'm curious to see how you guys do out there. Okay, have fun shooting out there. I'll see you in the next video.